Donald Trump is having a very bad week in the U.S. judicial system. He suffered two exceptionally bad setbacks this week. The first of which, obviously the biggest one and most pressing one, was on late Tuesday evening when Judge Tanya Chutkan ruled that he could not shield his records from the January 6th Select Committee, and she ordered the National Archives to go ahead and release that information. However, immediately following the ruling, Donald Trump appealed, so the material has not yet been released, but it's her rationale, the argument that she used, that really should give Donald Trump's lawyers cause for concern. She specifically said, presidents are not kings, and you are not the president. Basically echoing the exact same argument that I have been making for weeks now, and that is the only person who can claim executive privilege is the guy holding the office of the executive, which is not Donald Trump. It is, in fact, President Joseph R. Biden. And since he says these are not protected by executive privilege, Judge Chutkan says they're also not going to accept your argument, Donald. Only the president can claim that executive privilege. So, sorry, if you want to be able to claim executive privilege, you're going to have to run for president and win again. And the odds of that happening prior to these documents being released eventually to the January 6th Select Committee are slim to none. Because, it's going to happen long before the 2024 presidential election, assuming Trump is running. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to continue to appeal it. But here's the thing. You can't just appeal a court ruling because you don't like it. You have to be able to argue that somehow something wasn't quite right. So that's going to be a Herculean task. And the appellate courts could end up deciding, including the Supreme Court, by the way, because they've already done this one time, they could end up deciding we're just not going to take the case, right? You haven't made any grounds for us to accept the appeal. There was nothing wrong with the initial ruling. We're going to let it stand. Hopefully that's what happens, because that would be the fastest way for the January 6th committee to get their hands on those documents. If they decide to have actual court hearings about it, it could hold them up weeks, possibly even months. We're coming up on the holiday season. Courts, slow down a bit during this time, so that could buy Trump a little more time. The other issue, the other major legal problem Trump ran into this week was when a Superior Court judge in the District of Columbia ruled that a lawsuit filed against Donald Trump by Carl Racine, the DA for the District of Columbia, can move forward. And that lawsuit is about the Trump Inaugural Committee possibly overpaying Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C. This lawsuit's been going on for quite a while, and it's one that has not gotten the attention that a lot of the other lawsuits and investigations that Trump is involved in have received, because it's a little bit more technical, and because it doesn't necessarily involve Trump himself, it involves his daughter Ivanka. In this particular lawsuit, it is alleged that the Trump Inaugural Committee, which is set up as a nonprofit, intentionally paid overinflated prices to the Trump International Hotel in D.C. to rent out spaces there for the Trump inauguration. And because they paid the overinflated prices, again, intentionally, that money went back into Trump's pocket. So he essentially, the family, Ivanka, used the Trump Inaugural Committee to pay the Trump organization so they could lie in their own pockets. That's a big one. That could have huge ramifications, especially on Ivanka, who claimed in a deposition that she wasn't involved in any of the planning. And then the emails came out that said she was so involved in the planning, she even approved the menus for it. It's going to be hard for her to walk her way out of this one. But overall, this really bad week for Donald Trump in court kind of follows a trend that we have seen since Donald Trump left office. I mean, let's be honest. How many lawsuits, how many appeals, how many stays, and how many delays has Trump won since he left office? I know of one where he was able to basically get something pushed off, but the rest of them, no. He's losing everything, every time. He cannot delay things anymore. He is not president. He literally has no actual power here in the United States today. He is a former president. He has nothing. No legal reason why he can't face these more than 20 lawsuits that he's currently facing. He's going to spend the next few years in depositions, next few years in court, and he's going to be hit with all of these lawsuits that became backlogged during his administration. Again, I think the last count was 23, maybe more than that, and that's a lot. It's going to cost him a lot of money. It's going to cost him a lot of time. And as we've seen so far, things are already looking pretty bad for him.